Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this one I'm going to look at my friend Louis W123. I think this is a 1980 240D, and we repaired the regulator probably a couple of years ago. There was a little bracket that had broken off, a fairly straightforward little fix, but Louis been having trouble. It's a manual one obviously, and it's getting very difficult to wind, and obviously you don't want to stress it, so I have absolutely no idea really what's going on in there, but I thought this would make a good video, a sort of investigating video, and we'll try and get this fixed for Louis. So let's take the door panel off. So let's take the panel off. As I say, pretty straightforward. Got a couple of Phillips underneath, hidden underneath here, this door handle. So now we take these two screws off this locking plate here, or this lock plate right here, little trim. Unscrew the little doorknob here, the door latch lock thing. In behind to lever off this this back plate here, you can, just a little flat blade in there, you should be able to lever off the trim. Very similar, I think I mentioned it before, very similar to the old VW. I used to have a Beetle years ago. And Phillips there, I believe, yeah. Comes off. Okay, then we've got to lever off this little plate here from the door handle. That comes off there. Whoops, little trim piece. Alright, so you've got these body panel tools. You can just come in behind and work your way along so you don't break them. They should pop out without too much stress. Now, on obviously Louis missing the pocket here as well, and that's just held on by a couple of screws here. I should just leave her off there. There we go. You have to put this back on because this stops moisture getting to the back of the panel. Probably the easiest. Okay, that's that off. It's instantly obvious what's happened. There is a runner, the guide runner, that feeds itself up. I believe that's on this bolt here. Oh no, that's the doorstop bolt. Let's see, that might be part of it. Has come adrift. Has essentially just broken adrift. So it's difficult for me to film that. So I'm going to have to get that runner out of there. This one's good. Yeah, the runner is broken. So essentially there's this channel that obviously the window runs in, and it goes like this and straight down, and the metal channel that continues on into the door has come adrift on this end. Let me get a flashlight in there and see if I can figure out how to approach this. So what I figured I'm going to do here, because this is new to me, the 123, the way this all goes together, but they're all very, very similar to each other. I removed the wing mirror adjustment panel here. That's just a question, a little catch that undoes there and then slides off this post, and then removed the trim. Because basically what I want to try and ascertain is that essentially you've got the rubber continuing down here, then it goes into this runner that goes all the way down and attaches down at the bottom here where the door stay is, and that's where it's broken. Now obviously I can't get a welder in there and do any repair while it's in situ, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the window regulator and the window and see if we can gain a bit more space and remove that runner and then reassemble. So let me get the window regulator out of this location, which will undo the window from the regulator. Right, sorry, I forgot to press the button on on the camera. So just to recap, I undid the two 10mm bolts, okay, that hold the actual window itself to the regulator. It's one here, and then you have to position the window in a certain area so you can access the rear one. So that's real easy. And then we've got two, and two to hold the regulator in, and just with a little jimmying it comes out very easily. Just be careful when you're close to the window, you don't want to break the window. But you can see the lubrication. I lubed it a couple of years ago for Louis now, and that's all still fine. I'll make sure that that's all working good here. And you can imagine, not just manual winders like this, but you've been in these old Mercedes, the electric windows, when they go really, really slowly and that's because all this lubrication, all this lubricant grease is hardened like cement almost on all these contact points. You can imagine several contact points, plus being able to have to push the window up and down the channel is putting immense stress on the chassis of the regulator. And in some cases, normally at the ends of the teeth, they start grinding teeth and wear the teeth out, and then you get jumping. And also stressing the chassis in the later models where they had sort of almost like a pot metal on the electric ones, on the 108s. You'll invariably see those chassis have been literally torqued and twisted because there's an immense amount of stress on them. And that's why they're going so slow, right? So I recommend cleaning all this old grease and grime off with a cleaner, WD-40 oil. Get it completely clean and dry, and using a light grease, like I think I used like a silicon, I think it's a silicon grease. The name escaped. Oh, yeah, silicon glide grease on this. It's kind of a lightweight grease, and I tell you, once you get that on there, the window will operate so much nicer with less stress on it. So anyway, so that's that. So let me move that out of the way. Yeah, so let's take the door stay out. The bottom of the pin here, you can pull that. Oh, you see that guy there? That little clip's just holding the pin on the door stay there. Now I just got to tap that little pin up. There we go, just a little pin. There you go, just I tap it up and then just get the shoulder and push it up. So now this is the door stay that can just be removed. There's, unfortunately, this is a bit of a drag. If you can look carefully, there's some spot welded areas in 4 places here where essentially there's a bracket on the back and it's spot welded. Right, there we go. So you can see this is where the runner's attached to, right? And you know, due to the age and stresses on the rails and everything like that, it's broken free. Is to drill out these spot welds, take it all out on the bench, properly weld it on, and then re-spot weld it on again. So I'm opting really to drill it out. I know that sounds a royal pain in the butt, but and obviously we've got to get the location dead right, otherwise this will never run properly again. So anyway, stay tuned. As far as the repair, now that's the beauty of these old Mercs. You can repair it. Few choices, all right? You could certainly go on eBay and find someone selling them for $800 or some ridiculous price like that, because there are some people out there that think these are gold. Or you can just go ahead and repair it. Now, a couple of things going on here. The good thing is the rail doesn't really need to come out. Okay, so that means not disturbing the channel, what you know, like the rubber channeling, the windlace or whatever you call that stuff. What I can do is peel that back from this area, and I'll tell you why I do that. So I peel that back from this area. Unlike what I believe the 108 does, is bolt them in, this one has been spot welded in. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is drill those spot welds out, remove the bracket, the mounting bracket from back here, and then clean up the metal and all that, get this surface on the other side dead clean, clean all this, bring that bracket out here. As you can see, this is where it broke free. All right, clean all this up, clamp it. I can hold this to the door chassis. I can weld it on here, right? And then I can bring it back into position, then re-spot weld this, and then you're good to go. Treat it with a bit of paint so it doesn't rust, and then reassemble. So that sounds real easy, doesn't it? There you go. You can see my breaker bar passing through there. We're nearly there. Keep an eye on that hole. There we go. Fortunately, yeah, on that back edge there, a little bit of rust developing there, you see. So that might have weakened it. But anyway, we'll sort that out. So this is essentially the holder, and this is how it's on the car on the inside, see? So that's just broken free, and then let that dangle all over the place. You know what would be ideal is if we put some flat tabs on here and had some captured nuts, so they could be bolted in, and then with these holes being a little on the loosey-goosey side, then it will enable us to do a little of adjustment on the fly and then tighten it up. That is what I think I'm going to do. Right, now that we've got our plates welded onto our bracket, nice and strong, welded both sides, I've clamped the window in position, in the up position, and then we'll attach this, just essentially make sure we're in the right position to the runner. Right, just off camera, I had a little burr on the back side of this one, so got my trusty needle file and gently filed it at the back there, and obviously make sure before you go assembling them, I'm going to blow all this out, make sure there's no metal filings in there. I'll do that right now actually before I forget. So I've given that a thorough blowing out. I've clamped this into position where the original position it was on the runner. I can bring it there now, and what I'm going to do is, if I can get a clamp on it, get one of these little wood clamps on it. These are handy little guys. So give that a nice tight clamp now. That's alright. So let's just, and then I'll come back and take my clamps off the window. Obviously it's going to come down a bit cattywampus because it's not attached to the regulator, but I just want to see forward and aft movement till we hit the clamp essentially. That feels really good. That position is going to be good. Now we know we're in a good position there, I can simply mark through on the plates that we welded on. And at this point, really, you could quite easily spot weld that guy and be off to the races. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put captured nuts on the other side of those plates, because that will enable us, if there is any adjustment, the whole bracket can be moved, a few mil here and there to be able to adjust it. That's the idea anyway, so we'll see how that works, shall we? So here we are, I've just passed the bolt through, holding the nuts in their correct positions. It's a little out of alignment here, the holes are kind of cattywampus just because we had to folloll where the spot welds were drilled out. I'm just going to put a little tack weld on these, then do the back side. These are metric bolts, 8mm bolts I got from Bell Metric, all zinc plated, M6 bolts, sorry, with a 10mm wrench needed. Alright, so let me get those welded on. Right, now I've welded all the 4 captured nuts onto our bracket, clamped it back into the same position again, and let's see if these line up with our holes here. should just line up there. And then we can just bolt this sucker. Alright, I've checked operation up and down, that's fine. So what we've got to do now, undo that and then weld that back to the rail. So I want to spray it all together in one lot. So I've welded it, back welded it, got nice penetration, cooled it off because I didn't want to damage the rubber runner of the window track. And I'm just going to let that dry. I'm going to turn it, do some more painting, and then that can bolt straight back in now. And fingers crossed, we've got all the alignment correct. I'm pretty confident about that. We're all locked in now, so let's just reassemble the regulator, put the window down, and then we can check our operation. Tell a lie, got to put the door stay in before you put the regulator in, otherwise I don't think you'll get it in. So after the door stay here, we've got to put the regulator in. Looks like our old weld is holding up nicely, a few years. That was the last time we repaired this regulator, was this runner block came off the track. And so let's get this guy back in here. There we go. Alright, so get that guy in place. We'll just put a couple of bolts in loose just to hold it. Right, okay, so now we've just got to get the window in, make sure the operation is working. Alright, that's better. I make sure that's running nice in the running out. The little slider block fell out as I was installing it, so make sure that that stays engaged. Now we can bring the window down and bolt it to the regulator. We'll get this in line with this access hole here. Okay, so now the window is attached to the regulator. Moment of truth. I think that's working pretty good. I'll put a little bit more lubrication on. Something's a little loose there. Make sure these are all done up tight. Yeah, there's a little bit of play in the spring mechanism where it's catches a little bit, but I will make sure it's all lubricated nice for Louis, and so that should be good for several more years to come. So one more thing before I go, I wanted to go back to where the handle removal is. I wasn't very clear on that. So this is a little clip, so this unclips and you can see there's a little slot, and then this pulls out, right, and then lifts off, and then it acts as a stopper essentially to lock on to a slot that's around the pin. So this acts as a holder for the handle. So I wasn't very clear on that. Anyway, that's it for this video. Seems to have worked well now. Window goes up and down. That's the main thing. I've cleaned all my greasy paws off of the window, and now I've just got to put the membrane back on, make sure that's glued around the perimeter properly, and put all the hardware back on. That's just the reverse of what I showed you earlier. So as I say, you don't have to weld those captured nuts on. You could have held those, but I wanted to weld them on, and it does look like Louis' door stay has broken in one area, and that's why it kind of slops around a bit. And one other thing, when you've got these well, any old car really, when the window is in the low position like this, I'll tell you a story. When I was a little kid, my dad had I think it was a Honda Accord, something like that, sort of late 70s Honda Accord, I think it was, and I was about 12 or something like that, and the door was down. It was a coupe, that was it. It was a two-door, so the doors were a little longer, and the window was down. And I think we got home, and I was excited to run in because I think Starsky and Hutch or something was coming on, and I leapt out and I slammed the door, and that slam rattled this regulator inside the door and broke the window. He wasn't a happy camper. So anyway, so that is it for this one. Don't leave your regulators down and slam in doors, because that could cause that sort of damage. So anyway, so that's it for this one. Timmy's a little bit zonked out today because it's pretty warm. It's about 94 degrees out here. So I'm going to take him, give him some water, and let him chill out for the rest of the day. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, take care. Bye-bye.